Hello and welcome. I'm Rashi Mogha and this is the Empowered Women of the World podcast, a podcast where we talk about technology, leadership and success. Welcome to season 3. As many of you know, I'm big on mindful leadership. Over the last few years, I've shared various techniques with you to practice mindfulness. The 5-4-3-2-1 technique that I shared with you in one of the previous podcasts is one of the most liked techniques. Now, most people think of meditation being the only way to practice mindfulness. And it's my personal experience that meditation is hard. It is very hard to keep your mind focused on your breath, especially when you're just starting. And it can be very frustrating when your mind wavers. It's also not easy to keep a consistent meditation practice. Our days are overloaded and it can be sometimes hard to carve out time in a quiet place to meditate. So today, I am excited to bring to you 5 meditation alternatives or mindfulness exercises that you can use to vary it up and reduce your stress and anxiety. And while I have tried all these 5 techniques, there are 3 that I gravitate towards and find myself using them very often to practice mindfulness. The first technique that I have for you is coloring. Yes, those adult coloring books that now seem to be a trend, there's actually science behind them. Research shows that coloring abstract designs such as a mandala or a plate can reduce anxiety. So if you haven't given coloring books a try, give them a try. The next one that I have for you is playing music. This is another research-backed idea. Now, according to Fatal Fee, in one study, a group drumming initiative resulted in significant reductions in anxiety and depression, along with an increase in overall mental well-being. I do not play music, but I, like many other people, have found just listening to music to be very therapeutic for me and have leveraged it many times to reduce anxiety. The next 3 that I have for you are my favorite ones that I use often. Sky gazing. Now, as a teenager growing up in India, my favorite me-time activity was to lie on the roof on a sunny winter afternoon and gaze at the sky. See the clouds floating and find shapes in those clouds. Or focus on a bird or an airplane in the sky and follow its movement. I found this technique to be highly effective, so much so that I continue to do it. You will often find me in my backyard lying on a blanket looking at the sky aimlessly. Yes, it might look like I'm wasting my time, but I'm actually meditating. The next technique that I use very often, almost every day, is cooking. Now, before I talk about this, I want to mention that not all meditation techniques or mindfulness exercises work for everyone. While cooking can be stressful for many, I actually find it healing and calming. I get into my own zone when I cook, not bake. The measurements and the rigidness of baking stresses me out. There's an unsaid rule in my house that when I'm cooking, no one comes in the kitchen and no one talks to me. That's because it's my time to give myself a mental break, to process the inner chaos and relieve stress. The next technique that I want to talk about is walking. We've all heard from our moms, take a break, go for a walk. Well, there is a reason behind it. Benefits of mindful walking include stress reduction and improved cognition, in addition to many mental health benefits that any physical activity provides. Now, one great way of practicing mindfulness while walking is to focus on what will you let go of today. Now, this is a very powerful mental exercise that immediately puts things into perspective for me and keeps me grounded. I hope you give these alternative meditation techniques a try. Please let me know if these techniques help you with stress reduction and increased productivity. And today's resource for you is the link to the eWOW 2022 Virtual Summit to set you up for success this year. The early bird pricing ends February 15th and the link is in the show notes below. As always, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for loving, liking, supporting, and sharing the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. I look forward to seeing you again in our next podcast. Till then, keep empowering the world.